One of the questions that I get all the time when it comes to influencer marketing is, should I go for an agency or should I do it myself? So today we're going to answer that question and we're going to see what route should you take if you want to get started with influencer marketing. I'm Andrea. I'm an influencer marketing specialist with almost 10 years of experience in the field, working with small businesses and startups and mid-sized businesses sometimes. And if you are a small business owner, a startup founder, or a marketer, well, you're in the right spot. Welcome. Now, what are we going to go through in this video is basically a list of pros and cons for each, because there are advantages and there are disadvantages when it comes to doing both. So I'm going to go through each and every one of them, kind of help you make the best decision and see, okay, what is the best fit for me? Because no matter what everyone is telling you out there, businesses are different, your business is unique. I'm going to start with what are the pros with working with an agency, right? So obviously one of the big major pros when working with an agency is that you don't have to do anything. You can just lay back and let someone else do the work for you. You won't have to set up anything. You won't have to do anything on your side. You just have to do some onboarding calls for the agency to kind of get a feel of your business and how you do things and your values and all that. And then they're going to do everything. That is a great, if you ask me, it's really great. Yeah. You will also be able to access a network of people that otherwise you might not have access to. So an agency obviously comes with connections, they come with previous experience in the space, so they'll be able to guide you, they'll be able to answer your questions. So this is definitely a really big advantage, especially if you are trying to reach out to a specific influencer that you think would be really great. Maybe you've tried to reach out, this happens a lot, people try to reach out to a specific person and then they go through an agency or they have more success into getting to that person. One other advantage is that because of the agency's connections and because they have this kind of understanding of the space and they've been around for a while, you might also be able to get preferential rates or better rates than if you were to negotiate yourself. So again, the agency comes with a certain degree of trust, they come with a certain degree of expertise, they have maybe a network and connections, they know the talent managers to a different level than you do. So that is also an advantage to working with an agency. Another big pro to working with an agency is that you will have access to a large pool of creative people. You will have access to a large pool of creative people that you wouldn't maybe you don't have in-house. You know what I'm saying? You will be able to access a large pool of creative people that you might not have in-house, or you might not have the resources to hire in-house. And I'm talking about strategists, I'm talking about copywriters, I'm talking about influencer marketing specialists, very highly specialized people that are very familiar with this space, and they'll be able to bring a very high value and high impact. You will also be able to access different levels of expertise. So for example, let's say that you might actually have a marketing department in-house, you're a small business and you do have 2, 3, 5 people, 10 working in your marketing capability, but through an agency, depending on the level of the agency and depending on what the agency is, you will be able to access different levels of expertise. So maybe you have juniors in-house, but by going with an agency, you will be able to access a very seasoned strategist, maybe someone that has even produced award-winning campaigns that you wouldn't normally have access to. On the agency side, one fairly big advantage and a big difference compared to the in-house is that you will also be able to stop it at any time. So compared to an in-house capability where you kind of build everything from scratch and you hire people and you have, we're going to go through that in the in-house part. If you decide that this is not a channel I want to invest in anymore, this is not the type of channel that works for me anymore, or I just simply don't want to do it anymore, that's fine, no questions asked. You can just stop it. You can say, okay, I want to stop it, maybe give like 15, 30 days, depending on the contract that you have with the agency, but you'll be able to stop it right away and cut it and say, okay, we're cutting it right here. It's done. It's over. This is it, right? These are kind of the pros that I would identify as working with an agency. I've also worked agency side, so I'm talking also from my experience within the agency. Now, going over to the cons. An agency, in my experience, can get expensive. So if you don't have much of a budget to get started with, keep in mind that with influencer marketing is kind of the same with like with advertising. So you pay the agency fees and then you have a budget for the ads themselves. And it's the same with influencers. You can definitely find agencies that are specialized in seeding campaigns or barter campaigns, as we call them, getting influencers to work for only for product. That's a different thing. We're going to approach that into a different video as well. The way most agencies work is based on a fee and an influencer budget. The more budget you can allocate for influencers, the more successful you will be working with that agency, right? But the fees can get pretty hefty, especially if you're looking for a big number of influencers. To give you an example, most agencies I've seen, they kind of offer anywhere between like 10 and maybe 30 influencers on campaign, depending on your goal and depending on what you want to achieve. There are definitely also agencies that offer scale, but it is going to be expensive. So keep that in mind. Another con that I personally see is that you will not own the relationship with the influencers. So the agency, it's kind of the other side of the pro, where you actually don't have to do anything. You can just lay back and let the agency do it, but you will also not own the relationship. So they will be handling the relationships, they will be handling everything that goes into the campaign. Even if they reach out, even if they discover, the agency kind of discovers and contacts new influencers on your behalf, your relationship with them will be kind of owned by the agency. The agency would be like kind of the middleman into that relationship, and sometimes maybe it doesn't work out with the agency and you want to go back to those people and you kind of have to start from scratch to say so. Not entirely from scratch, but somewhere in that direction. So this is a big con for me personally. Another thing that you need to keep in mind is that when you have a middleman in your communication, you have to be 100% sure that the agency is 100% aligned with your value. They understand the messaging that you want to convey through an influencer campaign. Because what happens is that you have the brand, maybe you have someone internally on the brand, or maybe you're handling yourself. You might have someone internally, then you have the agency, then in a lot of cases you will also have an influencer manager or the creator's team, and then the creator. So the kind of messaging and what you were trying to achieve goes through a bunch of people, and you have to make sure that the agency fully understands what you want. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of like that game that kids used to play, when you whisper something to someone and then they whisper it to the next person and next person, and then at the 10th person the message is completely different. It's like something out of this world. Is like, how did you get to that? So keep that in mind. Another con, and it's kind of related to the relationship thing, is that you will not be able to, in most cases, however, maybe there are agencies out there that offer this, but in most cases you will not get a contact list. So you will not own a contact list. If they do discovery for you, or if they if they build kind of like a list of influencers that they present to you and say, hey, we're thinking about going with these people, what do you think, blah blah blah, you will not be able to get ownership of that list. Is going to stay with the agency most times, and you won't be able to access it. So I know this because I've worked with people that have worked with agencies, and this happened to them. They were like, oh, we saw these really cool people they had on their list, but we didn't get like their contact, and we didn't get their information, we didn't get that list, right? And those lists sometimes can contain like demographic information, fee information, contact info, multiple channels, just like all in one place. So these are the pros and cons of going with an agency. And now I'm going to move over to the in-house side, which is what I do. So if we're going for the pros of the in-house, one of the big pros that I see with in-house influencer marketing capabilities is that you will be in full control of it. So you will be able to see everything that happens, control everything that happens, make it your own, and build it exactly as you want it to. I really love this pro. Maybe I'm a little bit of a control freak. I'm not denying that, but I just love this idea of like, oh, it's mine. But if you're like me, then you understand. Because you're in full control of how you want to shape and how you want to build your department and what you want to do with it, you will also be able to scale it, or it will represent the foundation on which you'll be able to build other things for your company or for your brand. Let me explain what I mean by that. So if you have a very successful influencer marketing, or if you have an influencer marketing that you set up specifically for your business, that, for example, it's a very good business model to go into affiliates with, right? And you can build a very strong affiliate program. The influencer marketing is going to help you tremendously. You're basically not starting from scratch. If you are a brand that is relying very, very much on social proof and you need a lot of user generated content, influencer marketing can turn into this very, very much an internal content creation capability, where if you have those relationships, if you worked on building those relationships, and you have people that you can trust and rely on, and they really love your brand and they're ambassadors and they're advocates of your brand, the content creation is going to be first a lot better than if you were to go to other people or freelancers or whatever. And secondly, it is going to be ongoing. It is going to be something that you'll be able to get content out on and on and on and on, which is great. I like this because it shifts your perception of influencers and creators from being something external to being an extension of your team. And that's how you should view influencers. You should never view influencers as this like satellite thing that's just like floating around. I see a lot of people doing this. Like, we have influencer marketing, it's kind of working, but we don't know where to put it. We don't know where it goes. This is why, because they're treating it as something that's additional. Another pro that I see to this, and this is especially for small businesses or businesses that startups that are maybe in their first years of existence, that are very very focused on growing, on expanding and stuff like that. You will learn a crazy amount of things about your business, about marketing, about the creator space and the creator economy if you do this, because you are in it. You just learn by doing it. Yes, you will not have anyone to answer your question. That's definitely a con. You will not have anyone. Maybe if you hire external consultants or you spend additional money to bring more expertise into it, but you won't have anyone to ask questions. You will have to figure out for yourself, but that is going to be so valuable. You're going to extract such valuable things from that it's crazy. And you can do this. You can ask anyone who's ever done influencer marketing and try to figure it out on their own. Their mind was both like, I've learned so much, because it is truly unique marketing. Okay, now let's move on into cons, because there are definitely cons to the in-house capability as well. A big con is also the costs and resources. While agencies can get expensive in terms of fees, you can definitely start an influencer marketing capability in-house with a smaller investment than you would probably pay an agency, but the biggest investment would be in resources and time. So compared to an agency who takes care of everything on their own and they have their own team and their own systems and their own everything, you will have to take time to build that up from scratch, and it will take time to adjust to it. It will take time to optimize it. It will just take time. And when it comes to resources, I also mean like human resources. You will have to get people to do it for you, or if you are planning on doing it yourself, if you're a small business owner or marketer, you will have to allocate time. You will have to find hours in the day to get into those things and do those things, because the level of commitment this channel requires is not small. So if you're not committed to making this channel work, if you're not committed to the growth and the well-being and making it thrive from the beginning, it's probably not gonna work. Which leads me to it's kind of a related con. You will have to hire people. It's one of the problems I kind of see in this area, is that a lot of people And a lot of brands, they start influencer marketing and they think, oh, I don't need to hire someone because influencer marketing is technically social media. No, it's not. Do not do that. I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, the social media manager can do it because it's the same thing. They're on social media all day long. So why wouldn't they be able to do it? It's a different skill set. I'm not saying that you can't find people to do both, because I've been a social media manager for years, and I've also done influencer marketing in parallel, but it's not ideal. It's not, you shouldn't do it. I've also seen people saying, oh, the marketing manager or the marketing executive can do it on top of everything else they have. No, they can't. I'm sorry, but no, they can't. So there's gonna be a video coming up on where I kind of detail the responsibilities of an influencer marketing manager and how to hire and recruit and look for one and onboard them properly. But until then, you have to understand that you would either have to hire someone or allocate time for this in order to do it properly. That's just how it works. Remember when I said in the beginning, in the pros, I was like, you're gonna be in control of everything. Control freaking me was like, oh, amazing. Well, that's also a con. You will be in control of everything, which means you will also be responsible for everything. So you've got no one to blame if it goes sideways. You've got no one to, ask why things are not working out, because you will be directly responsible for this. And what you have to understand is that influencer marketing is a channel that takes time to evolve. It takes time to grow. It's kind of, think about it in terms of timelines, kind of like SEO. You don't expect SEO to provide results in like 2 weeks, right? Influencer marketing is not going to do that either. So keep in mind that it's going to be fairly slow to start. You will have to fiddle with it. You will have to optimize it. You will have to think about what is best for your business. The best way to kind of handle this con is to think in perspective and also think long term. So do not go into influencer marketing if you want to do like a quick, we're just gonna give it a try. It doesn't really work. You might as well, if you want to give it a try, you might go for an agency, but an agency is going to tell you pretty much the same thing, that it's kind of the long-term game. You have to play the long term. So you got to be committed. And I think that would be like kind of an additional con. If you're not committed to it, don't go into doing in-house, go for an agency. Keep in mind that you always need to take the best decision for your business. And there's that saying that if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And this definitely applies to this industry as well. So if you go to an agency is probably going to tell you that you need an agency. They're going to tell you, no, that's exactly what you need. You don't have to do it. Don't do it yourself. You don't know how to do it, blah, blah, blah. If you go to someone who does in-house, they're going to tell you the best way is to do in-house. It's the simplest. It's, you have control, blah, blah, blah. They're going to give you probably some pros and cons, just like I did. Do whatever is best for your business. Do not let anyone talk you into going in-house or going for an agency if you haven't weighted all the pros versus cons, all the advantages versus disadvantages. Do not let anyone talk you into, doing in-house if you're not sure you want to commit to an in-house department. If you're looking at the numbers and thinking, do I really want to put money into this for the next 6 months if I'm not sure that I can keep it up? If I'm fairly new to marketing, I have a new brand, do I really want to commit to this? If you're not 100% committed, do not let anyone tell you, this is what you have to do, this is what you do it in-house. No, okay? Do whatever feels good for your business. Your business is what matters in the end, and reaching specific goals for your business. It might even be to the point where you go through these like pros and cons and you think, well, damn, I'm actually not ready for influencer marketing at all. I have some other things to work on. And that's fine. That is 100% fine. Okay. I've actually also created a downloadable pros and cons list that you can download, you can edit, you can print, whatever you want. And I put down all the pros and cons I've mentioned with their description, but I've also left space for you to put your own, from your own perspective and from your business perspective, and kind of weigh and see, okay, what is it that we want to go to? Do we want to go to an agency? Do we want to do it in-house? If you like this video, there are many other videos coming on this topic, because I've noticed that there aren't a lot of people online talking about this, and aren't a lot of people giving like tips and tricks and actually telling these things. So I'm going to be doing it for you. If you like this and if you are interested in influencer marketing, subscribe to this channel. And what else do they say? Turn on the notifications. I'm sorry, I'm a new YouTuber. I have no idea what I'm doing. Just give it a thumbs up. Okay, I'm gonna get better at this, I promise. Okay, have a great day ahead, and I'll see you next time. Bye.